So why do diets fail? What is it that goes wrong in traditional diets? Why is it that people who go on diets have the best intentions, have a great plan in mind, and then they fail? They either don't lose any weight, or they lose a little and then they fall off the wagon and they gain it all back, or sometimes gain back even more. Why does that happen?
For the best nutrition and information about healing your own body, subscribe to my channel and hit the bell to be notified when I post a new video every Tuesday. I'm Andrea McDonald, and I'm a certified nutrition coach helping you understand the scientific approach to eating to heal your own body.
So the number one reason why most diets fail is, in and of themselves, diets are meant to be temporary. And so by design, the vast majority of them are very restrictive. They're restrictive in the types of foods that are allowed. They're restrictive in the number of calories they're eating. And that's really the number one reason why they fail, is people tend to undereat when they're on the diet, which leads to starvation, which then leads to crazy overeating. Even if that overeating is only in one meal, it tends to push you over your caloric level for the day in that one binge, or it is so much food all at once that you can't digest it properly. And so in general, the way to know if a diet that you're looking at is one of these two restrictive diets is if your total calorie allotment in that diet is less than your resting metabolic rate, or your basal metabolic rate, which is just the number of calories it takes to survive. If you literally laid in bed all day, did not get out of bed, didn't do anything, slept all day, the amount of calories it takes just to survive doing nothing, if you're eating less than that, you're starving yourself. And that's dangerous to do for any length of time beyond like a day or so. There are obviously fasting diets and things that can be done in the short term that can be done for a variety of reasons. But if your diet plan that is meant to last for any length of time is less than that basal metabolic rate, you're starving yourself, and you will not be able to survive on that diet. You will overeat, you will fall off the wagon. It's too restrictive and it's very unhealthy to do. So how do you know what your basal metabolic rate is? In general, a good way to estimate that is 10 times your current body weight. So for example, someone who weighs 120 pounds, 120 times 10, you should not eat less than 1,200 calories. In general, 1,200 calories is the minimum recommended for anyone. So even if you only weigh 100 pounds, you don't want to go less than 1,200 anyway. Especially if you're working out. If you're working out, you have to go even above this basal metabolic rate, because you're obviously not just laying in bed, you're burning calories when you're working out, and you're not laying in bed all day, so you're burning calories living, going to work, running errands. You're burning calories beyond that basal level anyway. So that basal level really only gives you the minimum that you need to survive. Any activity you're doing beyond that, you have to eat more to sustain that activity. The problem with those really restrictive diets that are less than your basal metabolic rate, not only are you not eating enough to survive on, literally, but even if you do lose weight in that short period of time when you're under eating, only half of that is fat. Half of it is metabolically active tissue, like muscle or bone, and those are not tissues you want to be losing, and you don't get to choose. You don't get to say, no, I'm only going to lose fat today. Your body is going to give up what it thinks it can to continue surviving, and you're going to lose muscle and you're going to lose bone if you're under eating. So that you definitely don't want to do that. And the flip side of that is when you start eating or overeating to get back out of that starvation mode, you're more likely to gain it all back in fat, because you're probably not going to make the best choices in what you eat when you're in that starvation mode. We've all had those days when you're just crazy busy and you don't eat all day, and then when you finally get to eat, you eat everything in sight, and before you even realize that you're overstuffed, you're so far beyond overstuffed that you can't even see straight. So you definitely don't want to get in that position, and generally when you're in that position, you're not making good choices. You're eating whatever you can get your hands on, and that's going to be every piece of junk or everything quick, which is probably not going to be the best choices. So research has shown that fat, sugar, and salt are all biologically addictive substances. So literally, it's not just that you love your junk food. You're literally addicted to those foods if you're on them, just like you could be to a drug or to alcohol or any other substance. Fat, sugar, and salt can actually be biologically addictive. They've shown that through research. So what do you do about it? First of all, you have to get rid of all processed foods. So if it comes out of a box, if it was made in a factory, you got to get rid of it. And you got to add in as many whole foods as you possibly can. So fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, lean proteins, healthy fats. Aim for as much real food as you can, not processed foods. Eat slowly and pay attention to what you're eating. Don't just cram a bunch of food in on your way out the door. Don't eat while you're driving. Pay attention when you're eating and pay attention to what you're eating so that you're decreasing your stress hormones. If you're eating in a mad rush, you're actually stressing your body and it's hurting your digestion. In addition to, you're probably going to overeat. So eat slowly and pay attention to what you're eating. At least in the short term, when you're trying to get a grip on your eating and your cravings and all of your food related issues, eliminate or reduce alcohol. Alcohol is almost pure sugar, or breaks down into sugar at least, and it's not helping your stress levels any, it's not helping your hormone levels any. So if you can eliminate it or at least reduce it down to the bare minimum, you've got a much better chance to level out your hormones, level out your sugar levels, fix your cravings, and reduce those stress levels. Pay attention to things that trigger you. These can actually be healthy foods or unhealthy foods, but just pay attention to the things that when they're in front of you, you can't stop eating them. I have that problem with like grapes or cherries. I know that sounds silly, but you can actually make yourself kind of sick if you overeat anything. So pay attention to those things that you by nature overeat, even if they're in front of you. Almonds or nuts are very, very healthy, but if you eat an entire package of them, not so good. They're super high in calories, so you do have to pay attention to that stuff. Use an accountability partner, a coach, a friend, a spouse, or journal, and be raw and honest about how you feel about your food, how you did throughout the day. Really, truly dig deep and pay attention. Don't just track what you ate, but track how you felt. Were you satisfied at the time? Were you satisfied an hour later? How did it taste? How did you feel before and after? Were you famished before you got to that meal? Keep track of all of that stuff. You can either write it in your own journal or share it with someone else, but you have to dig really, really deep and actually pay attention to the emotions behind the eating and how your body felt before and after. Because you want to remember those times when you feel amazing. So you ate a really healthy meal and you feel amazing, or you had a great day and your energy is through the roof, or you were able to do way more in your workout, or you killed it in your job interview because you were so clear and focused on your goal. So really pay attention to how food is affecting you and how you feel before and after you're eating, and then throughout the day, the totality of your day. Everybody loves to sleep, and it's so critical to your overall nutrition and metabolism. During sleep, your body is regulating your hormones, evening things out, reducing stress, and your brain is doing a ton of stuff behind the scenes to help you bust through addictions and cravings and all those things that tend to throw us off the track. So you have to get enough sleep, and it needs to be uninterrupted, focused, deep sleep. Do everything you can. Make your room dark. Do everything you can to possibly get as much sleep as you possibly can. Aim for that 8 hours, 9 hours. You'll kind of get to know your body and see what works best for you. Some people can function really, really well on 7. Some people need more like 9. So you have to kind of figure that out. But generally speaking, that normal 8 that we've always heard about is kind of a good estimate. Control your stress. So this includes things like getting rid of activities that stress you out or that are just putting so much on your plate that you really don't need to have. Get rid of all those things that you really don't need to be doing. Get rid of added responsibilities. Get rid of things you've volunteered for that you really shouldn't be taking on. Take time to meditate or do yoga or pray. Do those kinds of things that give you just calm, quiet time to rest your mind, or do some really intense exercises to get rid of those high stress things. If you're angry, if you're really frustrated, if you can't get your mind around something, sometimes that really deep intense exercise can really make a big difference. For other people or for other situations, it might be the quieter stuff, the meditation, the yoga, the time of prayer, quiet time, taking a nature walk, some of those kinds of things. So figure out which one's going to work better for you and do those things to reduce your stress level every single day, because we're all bombarded with stress every single day. Exercise every single day. Get 30 minutes of sustained exercise. And what I mean by that is get your heart rate up, get your breathing up, feel like you're actually working out, and do an activity that's meant to be a workout. So this, while it does count to park farther away when you're shopping and do those little things, take the stairs instead of the elevator, those are not meant to be your workout of the day. So those are great, keep doing them, but also take 30 minutes of your day and actually do a workout. Go for a walk, go for a jog, do a video, go to the gym, take a kickboxing class, do something specifically with the only intention of your fitness and focus on it being for your fitness. Supplement properly. So what I mean by that is when you're looking at either a shake, a bar, a pill, any of those kinds of things, you want to look at the labels and be really, really careful with added sugars, added artificial sweeteners, added stimulants like caffeine. Pay attention to those kind of things. I love supplements if they're used for the proper reasons and they're the proper supplements, because our entire goal in all of this is to have adequate, proper nutrition, which is really what's lacking in a lot of people's diets, is that full spectrum of real nutrition. Our crops are depleted, our food sources are not the best, so truly a lot of us do need a supplement to fill in the gaps. But you have to be cognizant on where those supplements are coming from and what they contain, so that you're filling in the right gaps and you're not filling them in with added sugars and chemicals and preservatives and other junk that aren't serving you any purpose.